Hey guys, Nikki here. Today I wanted to talk about minimalism and specifically what you can learn from the concept, even if you are, like me, definitely not a minimalist in real life. So what even is a minimalist? If you look all over minimalist YouTube and on the internet, you'll see things like minimalists hate clutter. They value quality over quantity. They value experiences over things. They're willing to go without things. They're content with what they have. And my favorite, they hate cleaning. The idea seems to be that you focus on the things that you truly need or the things that make you truly happy and let all of the rest go. The first thing that appealed to me about minimalism as I went down this YouTube rabbit hole is the idea of having fewer options. A good example of this is when I walked into my closet, let's call it 6 months or a year after my daughter was born, and having that feeling of, I have nothing to wear, despite my closet being full of nice clothes, right? Now, in that case, I actually couldn't wear a lot of that stuff because my body had just changed over time. Spoiler alert, your body does not just magically go back to exactly how it was. I think even if you get back to the same weight that you were pre-pregnancy, your proportions will sometimes change. I truly didn't have a closet full of clothes that I could wear, and so trying to dig through to find the stuff that did fit was a pretty annoying process. And then I was stuck thinking, do I get rid of this stuff that doesn't fit because at some point it might fit, or do I just kind of cut my losses and say, you know what, it's not worth me looking at all of this stuff. And I ended up taking a page out of the minimalist book and said, if it's not useful to me, I don't need it in my life right now. And I'm just gonna be okay with letting it go. Now, the repurchasing it later may not go as much into the idea of minimalism, but I think just letting go of the stuff that is not serving me certainly fits that narrative. So another thing that's appealing to me is not having to manage so much stuff. It's easier to keep a room picked up if it only has 10 items in it than if it has 100 items in it, just from a sheer volume perspective. An example I think of where the extra stuff is actually useful is with kids. I don't think I'm done having kids. So I have a lot of my daughter's old clothes and toys, and I have gone through and tried to put them in boxes with like age ranges on them so that when I have another kid, it's easy to pull them out and actually have those things be useful. But that takes a lot of effort, and that's if I am organized. Whereas, if I wasn't organized and I have another kid, trying to go up into my attic area, pull boxes down, figure out what is the right, age range to pull out a toy or whatever, it's going to be a massive effort. That's why I'm trying to take it on now when I am, not sleep deprived. But if you think about it, we're doing that same kind of process with general stuff all the time, stuff from our past that we truly may not ever use again. Clothes that may not fit us well anymore, shoes that we've worn like once for a nice occasion, old paperwork from jobs or from classes that we've never once referenced. And is all of that stuff really serving us? And if we ever did need that information, are we realistically going to think of where all of those things are located and actually use them? Or are we more likely to, in the case of information, Google it, or in the case of clothes, get something new that's, more aligned with what the trends currently are, or, borrow from a friend? There's a lot of other options out there besides keeping all of that in your house, because that clutter is preventing you from finding the things that you are looking for and using on a regular basis. So the third way that it's appealing is that it saves you money to be a minimalist because you're not constantly buying things that you don't need. Now, again, I certainly buy unnecessary things. Just this morning, I think I ordered some scrunchies because my daughter's very into them and she keeps losing mine. And so I want some for me and some for her so we don't have to share. But I will say that I've cut back a lot on buying things like toys for Nora. We used to have a Love Every subscription, which, by the way, I am a huge fan of them. I love their toys. Their toys don't have electronics in them. They are made from natural materials like wood and metals. They encourage a different kind of play than some of the toys that are on the market today. While I love them, we hit a point where we had a lot of toys and there was no need for us to be spending, the money on those play kits when we have a bunch of unopened toys from previous holidays and birthdays for her to play with. I want her to genuinely enjoy the things that she already has before we're accumulating more stuff in our life. And I don't want to be overwhelmed with that amount of stuff. And now I get to save the $120 per play kit that the Love Every kits cost. That's $120 that I can use on something else that's gonna make me happy or invest it for our future. And that's really appealing to me. Another thing that I learned from Minimalist YouTube is that you can declutter all you want, but you're never gonna maintain the minimalism or that peace in your home if you don't stop the inflow of stuff. You can have your home be better for a period of time, but if you keep purchasing, it's just a never-ending cycle of you having to go through the decluttering process. So that's why it's so important that you reinforce the decluttering habit that you have by learning how to say no up front to the things that are gonna hinder your journey of keeping your home clean. At the end of the day, it seems like small steps make a big difference. So there's a lot of creators out there that talk about minimalism. I'll link a few in the description box that are some of my favorites. They all approach things slightly differently. Kelly Bransford from Get First Coffee talks a lot about taking small bits of time to declutter throughout the day. That helps her manage her house on a regular basis. The thing I'm trying to remember these days is that small steps make a big difference. So if I can recycle the mail as soon as it comes into the house because I know that it won't pile up on the counter, that's a win. If I can take a bag of stuff to Goodwill, that's a win. If I can get someone to pick it up in my Buy Nothing Facebook group, that's a win. Like, I can slowly get things out, and also every time I say no to myself when I'm considering purchasing something that's not a necessity, that's also a win. And it's a vote for future Nikki to be more minimalist. And if you're not familiar with the whole like a vote for your future self, there's a really good book called Atomic Habits that teaches you how you can build positive habits in many different ways and how they accumulate the positive effects over time. If you enjoyed this video and you're a parent, I'm gonna link another one here that you might enjoy. It's all about how to organize your kids' clothes if you have multiple sizes to make sure that they actually wear all of their clothes. And also if you're keeping clothes for future kids, how you can set up your organization system so you can actually find those clothes in the future for another kid. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you next time.